there we go. There we go. Oh, I gotta probably plug in my phone here. Got it. You asked for it, you got it, Toyota. I promised I would show up today to do a TikTok live, and I'm a gal who keeps her promises. I am. So good morning, Estella and Tammy and Louise. I know you're jumping on momentarily, and Eva, nice to see you. It has been a while, huh? It's been just about a week. It has been a week, but some of you knew I was going to hop on today. I'm here for an hour, right? Good morning, Becky. Yay, and Mars, nice to see you. Yeah, it's been a minute. I hope you had a lovely holiday season. I did. I'm kind of exhausted, but I often am exhausted by travel and whatnot, but it's a good thing. Judy, nice to see you. Gen X, love your name. Love it. And Carol and Vicky and Cheryl and Plainly at Checks. And yay, good stuff. Good stuff. Alrighty, my friends. Aunt Debbie, okay, so, my goodness. It is December 30th of 2024. How crazy is it? We got one more day of this year. And then even though Wednesday is just a Wednesday, it's also the beginning of the new year. Now, I don't say this to overwhelm you. I'm just kind of stating the facts, and that certain weeks can feel different than other weeks. But I'm here for you regardless of what the week feels like. There we go, Star Queen, nice to see you. Kat Roby, nice to see you. Blonde Cheryl, love it. A lot of familiar names and a lot of new names too. In case we haven't met, I'll probably say this a couple of times because I always like to make the new folks feel welcome. My name is Beth. I am a decluttering life coach, and my coaching here on TikTok and on the interwebs is Destination Decluttered. I call it Destination Decluttered because, man, did it make a difference to me in getting my act together in my life when I realized I could kind of pretend my life was a road trip and act accordingly versus dreading what was ahead. And here I am for you for the next 56 minutes, if I do my math correctly, to help you wherever you're at. Now, Blonde Cheryl, you're asking me how was my holiday? It was wicked nice. Thank you. Very busy. Very busy. Man, whirlwind. We're like, whoosh, a whirlwind. We got home last night from Maine. We were in Massachusetts for a while. We had lunch with friends in New York. We stayed with friends. We saw family. We did all sorts of things and had a lovely time. Yeah. I will say this. The older I get, and look at me, I'm getting so old, the more I realize what's important about the holidays isn't the gifts. It isn't the cash. It isn't that type of stuff. It's the time spent with people, because that's one thing you will never get back. And so, yes, so I made a point to see folks, but also spend time for myself because I can also get my social battery can get drained. I'll be honest with you. So I hope you had lovely holidays. Now, this is a funny thing. So my husband and I left last Tuesday, and so it looks like Christmas is at our house. We've got the tree up, we've got decorations and things. But we haven't been here in about a week. So it's almost like, oh, okay, well, now we're almost at New Year's. So we'll probably keep the Christmas stuff up for a little while. But at a certain point, we're gonna take it down and put it away. We may even donate some things that we didn't end up using. We're also, and maybe this is going to sound familiar, is this time of year is the time of year where more things than ever are in your house. You've got at least I'm speaking very generally, but many of us got gifts, got things from other people that weren't in our house last week, and now they're in our house, and we need to find homes for them. Okay, we need to say, okay, if I've got this and I've finite amount of room, what's going to stay, and what's going to go in order for me to find homes for some of these new things, whether it's a new sweater somebody gave me in my closet. Or I don't know, I got like some kitchen gadget. Maybe I got some new records, but my record collection is already like kind of squished. So finding space for the things that are important to you. Now that's totally practical, but it's also kind of making space for what's important to you. So that's why I show up. I do this myself. And not just spending time finding space for the physical items in your home, but also the other things in your life. Like I was helping, and I don't think she would mind me. I'm sure she's going to sign on momentarily, but I was just coaching one of my clients. And this is one of the things I'm going to do when we do the decluttering parties these next couple of weekends for the people on the mailing list, is really sitting down and saying, yeah, I want to declutter, but what are some of the bigger things I want to do? And I'm not saying like, travel the world. That's on my list, is spending time with the people I care about while they're still alive. Spending time in my kitchen making those recipes that I say I want to make the recipes from. Hey, Erin, nice to see you. Look, I have a mug. I'm raising my mug to you. Is making space in your schedule for the things you want to do, for the people you want to get in to hang out with, the activities, the crafts you want to do, the skills you want to learn. Making time in your schedule is as important decluttering wise as making room in your closet for those new bulky sweaters that you got. Now let's do this right now, shall we? Yes. Okay. So Judy is saying way too much needs a home. Yes. This is where we get crafty this time of year, but give yourself some space and give yourself some grace. We have a time to do this. Okay. This can be a wonderful time to remind yourself of what's important to you. Now, here's one thing, though, right off the bat, Star Queen. Husband and I are already feeling guilty about gifts we want to dispose of. Guilt is an interesting feeling. Make you feel bad because you don't like what somebody gave you. Well, they hoped you would. Gift giving is an art and it's not a science. And sometimes you hit the nail on the head and other times you miss the mark. It's going to happen. One thing that can ease your guilt about gifts you don't want is maybe not thinking of disposing them, but how can you share your abundance? Okay, let's reframe, as they like to say. We've got clutter. Let's put a new frame on it. Instead of saying stuff I don't like that I want to get rid of, how about stuff that just doesn't do it for me, but I can share that abundance with somebody else? Now, being a person that spent decades thrifting and trash picking and garage sailing, I have benefited from people releasing the things that they don't like anymore. So I think this is a wonderful thing. I like sharing. I choose to believe that there is somebody out there who's going to dig the stuff that I don't dig. Now I know that because I go to the stores and it's filled with crap that I don't care about. So I say this to you, is guilt is a feeling that's going to have you hanging on to stuff that you know you don't want. There's like two parts of your brain. The part that's like, I don't want it, and the parts that's like making you feel guilty and hanging on to it. And when you have that kind of fight between the two, it's a bit of tension. I want to help you release that tension. Feel better about it. And it's okay that you don't like some of the gifts that some people give you. Maybe they don't like the gift that you got them, but you tried, So, don't feel guilty. Get creative. Okay? Now, here's some interesting stuff. Like Lainey says, my last one moved out and left her stuffed animals. I can't throw them out. Help. Okay. I love it. Kat Roby is already offering a great idea that I'll reframe to you guys. Kat is saying, I had my own as a young adult. I took a video. I told each story in the video, and then I donated them to World Care. So Kate Kager, nice to see you. The other thing too, Lainey, I would say is please, and I say this to everybody, get the owners of the items involved in the decluttering process. Notice how I'm being very mindful and not saying helping with the decluttering process. Helping implies that it's your task and somebody else is helping you out. No, we want to redistribute the responsibility of decluttering. It's not just mom or the woman in the family, it's everybody. So I would say, like Lainey, even though your last one moved out, next time she's over, say, okay, hey, you moved out. Let's talk about these stuffed animals and allow her the journey of decluttering. Now, if you've never been on the journey of decluttering, oh, look, the journey of decluttering, you may not know how to guide somebody through it, but I do. That's me. I've got like the pith helmet on and I'm there like walking you guys through the journey of decluttering, like Marlene Perkins on Mutual of Omaha's Wild Kingdom. Omaha, did you hear me say that? Totally just came from New England. So get people involved. Do not declutter somebody else's stuff without their permission, but also don't allow them to avoid making those decisions. Okay? I love that idea of making a video, telling the stories of those stuffed animals. The stories may not mean anything to anybody but the owner, but they mean something to her. So going through it together can help you both. Because if she moved out, it's your house now, you know? So, now I love this. Amy C., and this is really funny because my husband and I were listening to a song on the way home last night by our friend Ben Vaughn. It's called, I'm Gonna Miss Me When I'm Gone. So Amy is saying, a phrase that I have started using, am I going to miss this when it's gone? Yeah. I heard another one from a friend of ours. We're friends with a bunch of musicians, and he was somebody we met on a flight back from LA, and we were chatting about stuff. He lives over in France, but we were coming back to Philly. And as we were waiting for our luggage, he said that his dad would say something like, can I live without this? Could I live without this? And sometimes asking yourself different questions, phrasing these things in a different way can help your brain give you an answer that feels good. Okay? Melissa, doing the retail life. God bless you, my dear. My decades in retail, my heart goes out to you. Okay? So, I love this because so many people are in so many different, we're all on the road. If you think about it, we're all kind of driving towards our own personal Jesus, our own personal declutter. But we are all at different points in our journey. Now, Sue Sturm is saying, I have a basement storage room that is overwhelming. Where do you start? That's where you start with the overwhelm, okay? You start. Everybody, please, to me, this is the best place to start, is you cannot start well when your brain is in overwhelm mode. When it's in that overwhelm gear, it's like being in your car and having your foot on the brake and on the gas. You're revving, and you're like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. This is too overwhelming, and you're not doing anything. You're frozen. So to me, honestly, the very best thing to do is to, and this is what I use, so write this down. Instead of feeling overwhelmed, think of the word over. It's over your head, too much, it's all over the place. You want to think of the word down instead. Now, this has just come up organically, calming down. Think of how many times I can use the word down to make you feel better, because when you feel better, you're going to do better. Okay? So, quieting down, calming down. Drink down some water. Sit down. Quiet down your environment. It's funny, I think my husband's up. I can hear little dribs and drabs from the other side. Look down. If you are overwhelmed with all that you see around you, focus down, look down, soften your gaze. Don't look at everything. Look at one thing. What's one thing you can do in that basement room to start? Getting started is often the most difficult part. Once you get started, it won't be that bad. But always, to me, kind of check your gauges. Are you feeling overwhelmed? If you are, then don't start. Don't start until you feel better. When you feel better, then get into gear and do something. Okay? That's how you start. Everybody, not just you in your basement. You start like chunking it down. That's another one, chunking it down. Instead of looking at your whole house, you chunk it down room by room. Maybe the kitchen is too overwhelming, and then you go surface to surface or surface to stored. Okay? Now, I love this. Kat Roby does this. She says scheduled Beth blinders. That's what she calls it when I do these TikTok lives, because I do these TikTok lives pretty much every day, except for when I don't. But those are the people on my mailing list know when I show up to do these, because I do them and I have them scheduled. If you want to get on the mailing list, destinationdecluttered.com/join. You can hop on the mailing list for there. It's free. But Kat says she scheduled her Beth blinders. But hubby home late last night, flight delay, switching from physical to digital clutter. Yes, having a plan and being flexible about it. That is it. We don't do rigid planning here. We do flexible planning because we are flexible people, okay? Woo, flexible people rarely get what is it? There's a phrase there. I forget what it is. You can have a plan, but be flexible about it based on what's going on in the outer world and in your inner world, okay? But be ready to be able to switch. I know myself, frankly, I get tired sometimes and I'm like, I had a plan, but I need to take care of myself because if I try to drive forward without any gas in my tank, I'm going to crash and burn, okay? So have a plan and be flexible, okay? Because then you won't be pissed off when things go differently, because sometimes things go differently because life happens and death happens too. Okay. Now, Teresa says, I got hubby on board and we sorted out. I love that. I'm not just speaking French. I'm saying we sorted out coffee cups, and a few odd dinner plates. Rockin'. Love it. Every little bit helps. Every little bit helps. And getting other people who live with you involved in the decluttering is important because this is not all your thing. Okay, yes, one item at a time. And I will say this, start with the things, initially start with the easy things that are going to give you the biggest bang for your buck. You know, if you know that there's a giant box down the basement that has one item in it, get rid of that because you will need space in order to sort your clutter. So one of the first things will be surface area clutter. Okay, so start with the easy things that are going to give you the most space. Nothing wrong with a couple of easy wins. It's almost like when you're losing weight and you just drink a lot of water and you kind of flush the stuff out, you know. Other boxes are going to be densely packed with paperwork and you can work for a whole day and only make this amount of room. But start with the easy stuff. Start with the easy stuff to just get yourself started, and then you'll have room to breathe, and then you will have that positive reinforcement of, this wasn't so bad. Look what I did. I made a difference, okay? Okay, Sconson says, I give myself 1 hour in the cluttered basement, and I get so wrapped up, it's often longer. Right, so if you want to spend longer there, that's great. But if you know you don't have time to spend more than an hour there, use a timer. Use a timer. I use the one, I'm only showing this one because it happens to be here, but use the timer on your phone. Set the timer and say, even if you have a hard time and you don't feel like getting going and doing it, you can set a timer for 15 or 20 minutes and just say, okay, I'm only going to do it for 15 minutes. As soon as it's done, I can stop. It's totally me on any kind of exercise machine. I will be watching the clock like nobody's business, but it will make me stay for that amount of time. If I do not establish the amount of time, I can bail out at any time, and then I might not get the benefit that you get after doing something for a while. Okay? I love this. We celebrate our wins here on Destination Decluttered TikTok Lives. Blonde Cheryl 60 says, went through clothes and shoes and got 5 boxes ready to donate. I love it. I love it. Awesome. Yes, bend, do not break. Yeah. Now, Teresa says, I used to play Beat the Clock. Now, that can be fun. To me, honestly, that feels stressful to me. I don't want to race the clock. I want to move at a pace that feels good to me, and that pace is different every day. As I mentioned, we just got home from a week away for the holidays. We got home late last night. I wasn't feeling well yesterday. Today, my pace will be different than if it was one of those ones where I feel 100% and I've got a full night's sleep and some healthy food in my body. So I show up differently every day, and it works for me. Yes. Moni Lowe says the dopamine rush, ADHD people in the house, the dopamine rush of accomplishing something helps. So do the easy thing first. Yes, that's like a nice little, it's kind of like the caffeine in the morning. It gets you going. It's not long lasting. Dopamine to me is almost like that sugar rush. It gets you going, but you need something more sustainable, but it gets you going, you know? And so notice these things. Yeah. Helps me combat the ADHD and distraction. So yes, if you say, what am I going to get done in 15 minutes? If that motivates you, do it. If that overwhelms you, do something else. Finding what works for you is the key that's going to unlock the ignition and get you going. So what works for me may work for you. That's why I share it. What works for somebody else might work for you. That's why I'm here to share it. I don't gatekeep, and I also love to kind of exchange ideas. It's like recipes, because each one of us is a recipe of different ingredients. We're all wired differently. We were all brought up differently. We have different stories about our clutter. We're all different ages. So while, yes, we're all under the clutter umbrella, look at me. I'm under the clutter umbrella. We all are different. And so finding what works for you is important. Now, I love this because Carol is saying, I really need to get motivated. Yeah, motivation is an interesting thing. Now, depending upon what you mean about motivation, to me, when you say I'm getting motivated, it means you're not particularly looking forward, ahead. You're not excited about the decluttering. And many people are not. Many people think it's a chore, that it's going to be painful, it's going to take forever, it's going to hurt. Why would you show up for anything if you're describing it like that? Like, oh, you're really selling it now, right? That's why I like to make it fun, okay? And I do. You put on music. You set up a table in the middle of the room and you make it your declutter January table. I just made that up a few minutes ago. Sure. You declutter where the light is good. You bring things out to the light. You set them out on a table. You declutter outside of the overwhelming room. You do it where it's warm. Maybe you've got some music on. You light a candle. You put on some comfortable clothes, or you get showered and you dress up. Make it fun and get it done. Okay? Pop-Tart Mama says, I was motivated but went to bed with and woke up with a killer headache. Okay, Pop-Tart Mama, our first place is always going to be right here. What can you do to make yourself feel better? Okay? Do you have medicine you can take for headaches? I do. I take them. I took one yesterday. Have you drank in some water? Have you drunk some water? Are you drunk? Drink some water. What can you do to make your body, yourself, feel better? And this is not just Pop-Tart Mama. This is everybody. How are you feeling? If you're not feeling good, what can you do today to make yourself feel better? What can you do? Seriously, while I'm here, I'm just chatting. If you need to go poop or pee or, make yourself a cup of coffee or take some Excedrin or do a stretch, nothing that I say here is gonna be missed if you don't look at the screen, okay? So seriously, make yourself feel better. That's a good starting point. That's gonna help you feel less overwhelmed. And there are days you're gonna wake up and feel crappy. Yeah, but luckily not every day, okay? Now, I love this. Kat Roby has been showing up to my TikTok lives. She and I have never met, but I do these TikTok lives often. I do one-on-one coaching with people that pay me to be their one-on-one coach, specifically with them. Other times people show up to my TikTok lives and follow my TikTok page and are on the mailing list because it helps them kind of get them motivated. So Kat Roby says, I cleared the foyer closet and started clear of deep storage last night. It's a turning point. Yeah. Notice that we have surface clutter. And this time of year, with the holidays, all of us have more on the surfaces than we ever did. We have more gifts. We have things in our homes now that did not have homes last week because we didn't have them. So surface clutter is a certain layer of clutter, but then there's stored clutter. Deep storage, storage room in the basement. I've got stored clutter. It's stuff that's in storage. And then some of the stuff that can be on the surfaces or being stored is your sentimental clutter. Notice how I make it easy and fun. Surface, stored, sentimental. Sentimental is the stuff that you have that tells you stories. I've got stories, things right next to me because I'm going to be going through this month. I'm going to be going through my family tree. So I have, stuff that I look at that tells me stories. You do too. You have things you want to talk about. I will too. Okay. But getting started. There we go. Go for a walk. That's a good one. Okay. Photographer Girl says, tips for decision fatigue. When I declutter, it feels overwhelming with decisions. Okay. 2 things. Yes, you are spot on. Decluttering is decision making, at least the way I do it. But this is okay. What I would offer is almost like muscle fatigue. Okay. So Photographer Girl, treat your decision maker like a muscle. So I say this by starting small, but starting. It's like lifting weights. It's like going for a walk. If you haven't done it in a while, you're going to get tired sooner. I feel like I've barely moved my body in the past week because I've been in cars and in people's houses and stuff. I have not walked like I plan to. So today when I go outside, oh, sun's out, yay, I will not walk as long as I do. So be mindful. Do not hurt yourself and do not run out of gas. Build your decision-making muscle and stop before you feel overwhelmed. Because if you do it until you're empty, you're going to remember that empty feeling. And the next time your brain offers, oh, we should declutter, it's going to remember how empty it felt at the end. Stop your decluttering journey while you still have at least a quarter tank of gas in your car. Because you're going to need to make decisions elsewhere in your life. Do I brush my teeth tonight? What do I want for dinner? What pajamas do I want to put on? Do I want to scroll on TikTok? Okay, we make decisions all the time. And decision making is a muscle and it's a gas tank. Okay, so building that muscle helps you do it longer, but still, every time you use your decision maker, it empties like a gas tank in your car. So when you know that, you can build up your practice so you can do it for longer. But even when you do that, your muscle will fatigue. Okay? So notice those ways of thinking about it. And maybe the next time you declutter, you do something different. You don't declutter for as long as you did. You will set a random timer for a half an hour to check in with yourself. You know, almost like looking at your gas gauge in your car. To say, okay, I've got a half an hour left of gas. Do I want to continue to declutter? I want to start tidying things up. You know, listen to me, So yes, we all will be fatigued. I am fatigued today, but I also scheduled my time to show up, and that helps me show up. If I had nothing on my schedule today, maybe this will sound familiar to maybe you guys, I would be scrolling on TikTok and lazing around. And there's nothing wrong with that. There really isn't. But I know sometimes when I get up and I have something scheduled, no matter how small, I feel better when I get up and I move around. It gets my lymph moving and my blood is getting the oxygen and my muscles are getting a modicum of moving aroundness. Okay? So, a couple of things I see here. And again, if you've just met me right now, hey, my name is Beth. I'm a decluttering life coach. I show up here on TikTok a lot. I do TikTok lives almost every day, except for when I don't. Like I was on vacation all last week for the holiday. But I did schedule this TikTok live. I knew I was going to show up at 9 a.m. Eastern. So did the people on my mailing list because I share the schedule with them. If you want to get on that mailing list, it's free. You go to my website, destinationdecluttered.com. You sign up for the mailing list. It's free. And we're doing a couple of fun things these next 2 weekends, just real quick. People on the mailing list, 2 things. One is I will be sending out the invites to the decluttering parties that we're going to have these next couple of weekends and the ticket link and all that. But the other one, too, is... Crap, I already forgot what the other one was. Can you tell this is live and not Memorex? Oh, yeah. It was because of the mention of TikTok and the website, the mailing list. Who knows what's going to happen with TikTok? Not me, not you. So following me here on TikTok is great, except if TikTok goes dark, there's no way we're going to be able to stay in touch. The people who are going to be able to hang out with me still, and we're going to be able to hang out together and continue this on another platform, are the people on the mailing list. So if you like what I'm doing and you don't want to lose me here on TikTok, I will be in touch with everybody on the mailing list. Be like, dudes, we're meeting over on YouTube, or hey, maybe this week we'll try Instagram. We'll find another home. But I can't let you know where I'm going if the only way we stay in touch is TikTok. Okay? Just saying. Okay? Now, getting out in nature is amazing, says somebody. Yes, taking a walk, breathing air, getting your eyes into the sunshine, fresh air, all of this is good for your human body and your soul. Sue is offering, I need to realize that if I haven't used it since I moved in 2019, I obviously don't need it. Yeah, notice how when you haven't used something, you have made a decision about that thing already. It's a very kind of low, rumbly, almost unobtrusive decision, but you have made a decision to not use that thing for the last 5 years. So that ostensibly could make it easier for you to be like, dudes, if we haven't used this rice cooker in 5 years, it's probably going to be pretty easy to get rid of it. And I say get rid of it. That's my lazy way of talking it. I could probably donate that somewhere where somebody else could use it. Okay. All right. Now I'm going to catch up on some of the things because there are some great ideas. This is a wonderful community of people that always seems to just gather every time I do a TikTok live. I see some familiar names. I see some new people. You're all welcome, except if you're a hater. I have no patience for trolls. But luckily we never get them here anyway. All right. Rachel says, my son helped me so much last night by bringing me bins to sort in a very overwhelming space. Okay, so notice, now to me, it's like I want to get out of the overwhelming space and I want to have a clear space that I can donate it. So notice this stuff. Now this is wonderful. Kathy says, thank you for the recommendations. I just tossed an old dustbuster that barely worked. Yes, now that's when I like to talk about the quality and quantity of your items in your home. When you have items that provide a function, like a pen writes, you want to make sure it's a good pen. It has ink in it, that it feels good when you write with it. Don't hang on to stuff that doesn't work well. Okay? Jennifer is offering my neighborhood now has a buy nothing group, a great way to give away unused things. Yes, you could start that in your own neighborhood, or there may be one that already exists in your town. Usually a lot of times that's on like Facebook and stuff like that. So notice it. Haha, Ms. Turbo, now this is interesting. Says, I finally cleaned out under my kitchen sink. It only took me 6 years. Here's the funny thing. I bet the cleaning took about an hour, but you delaying doing it took you 6 years. Isn't that silly? Oh, there we go. Pop-Tart Mama says, while I'm nursing my headache and you all declutter, I will like the live for us hours. Like the live for us all. Thank you. All right. Oh, I guess we did something. It says we have completed a quest. I don't know. Here we go. Oh, backing up some good stuff here, people. Yay. Hey, today we got Beth to over 10K likes before the halfway point. Well, thank you, you guys. You like me. You really, really like me. Okay. Let's do this. I'm backing up. So this is some older things of what I was talking about, but I like to also, just as a heads up, I like to reread the comments that are helpful or are asking questions that I can provide answers to, because when I do these TikTok lives, I also upload the recordings to YouTube. I'm pointing to my other screen over there, but at Destination Declutter on YouTube. So you can rewatch these, and especially like when I'm traveling and I don't do TikTok lives, you can pop one of those on, pretend it's live. Okay? Good morning, Vicky. I love it. Old Girl One says, I spent 10 minutes a day since December 1st decluttering in a bedroom, storage clutter. Oh my. You know what? How much less clutter do you have right now? Alrighty. Such good stuff. 10 minutes go by pretty fast. They do. Yep, it's what I can do to help today. Yes. Now, I'm not sure what to do with items I haven't used, but I want to use. Sandwich press help. Okay, Melissa, this is what you do. You make a sandwich today with your sandwich press. Or you make a plan that this week you're going to make a sandwich press sandwich. Okay? Everybody who is hanging on to stuff that you want to use but you haven't used it, we are making plans. For Nigel, we are making plans to use the stuff we haven't used. Okay? Make a plan, make a sandwich. Okay? Now I love it. Sconson says, I lost 30 pounds, put larger clothes in a bin, couldn't bring myself to donate in case I gain it back. Really good thing to bring up, because a lot of us, myself included, think about that fear of what if I might need it someday. The fear of gaining the weight back. Fear, really, really simply and clearly and plainly, like a really boring recipe. Fear will have you hanging on to stuff that you know you don't need right now. The fear that your circumstances will change and you might need that thing will keep you hanging on to that clothing that's 30 pounds heavier. It's not uncommon. You're okay. You are in such good company when you do that. If the changing of your weight is new, you may be, afraid that you're going to gain the weight back. And then if I gain the weight back, I might have to pay money. Money is another big factor that has us hanging on to stuff. I may have to pay money to buy bigger clothes. So sure, keeping them stored away, gives you a sense of safety. I am going to be safe. If I gain the weight back, I will have clothes to wear that I will not have to spend money on. What I offer is great idea. What I would suggest is pack away what you're not using and then label that box with what it is and what date you put it away and check back on it in like 6 months. Maybe things will have changed. Did you gain the weight back? No. Maybe you're feeling safe enough in your body that you could release some of that clothing. Maybe it's clothes for the winter. Now, I live in a place where we have pretty much 4 seasons. Maybe it's 30-pound plus clothing that's from winter. Maybe you save it until next winter. Have you kept the weight off for 30, until December of next year? And then you open it up and maybe you're just like, no, I don't want to wear these clothes anymore. Allow yourself the pace to make the decisions. This is not a race. We are not racing against each other. When you feel ready, when the decision feels easier to make, you will make that decision. Okay? I just like to slow down the process so you can understand what your kind of now maybe gut reaction is to why you're doing these things. Okay? Now, I love it. Therapy Gal Sue is saying, looking forward to slowly sorting all holiday items over the next week, decorating and serving pieces, And yes, totally congratulations on anybody who's losing any weight, even a pound. I know it ain't easy. So good stuff. Okay? So, notice this stuff. There we go. Shredder's full. I love it. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Sue Sturm is down 135 pounds and I never want to go back there, but I'm afraid. Yeah. Okay. And Debbie says I cleared out the clothes that do not fit me anymore yesterday and it felt so good. Yeah. I love it. I love it. Shredder's full. Okay. Oceanana. I love it. Beth, notice how great this is. Jim. Everybody, give Jim a high five. Jim is participating in the decluttering. Jim is helping Louise, not even helping. Let me zip it and correct it. No, Jim is participating in the decluttering of stuff he knows how to declutter. Jim has done 2 piles already. He will bring something out for me next, and the shredder's full. Love it. Empty out the shredder into a bag that's getting into the trash or recycles and keep doing it. Love it. Yay. Good stuff, people. There we go. I'll catch up with my physical project with the Destination Declutter. There we go. You guys are so good. All right. Brick Mom Fan says, my girls got new toys for Christmas. Now I feel like we need to declutter toys. Where do I start? Here's where you start. You involve your girls in the process. You guys, I'm not kidding. If we all had learned this life skill when we were girls or little kids, we would not be here on TikTok. I'd be doing something else. You'd be doing something else. You and I, we all currently just missed that class for a variety of reasons. Get your girls involved in the process because Christmas is something that happens once a year. Gifts will happen perhaps more than once a year. Getting comfortable with, feeling comfortable with making decisions of what stays and what goes is part of being a human on this planet. So I would say to your girls, say, okay, here's what happens. At Christmas, Santa Claus brought these gifts. Now, there's not room for all of this. So in order to make room for the new stuff, you may need to release some of these other things. Now, sometimes kids are really good at this already because they want the new toys and they're bored with their old toys. But getting them into the habit of, okay, we're going to put these in a bag and we're going to give these to the kids who are less fortunate than us. And then also being mindful of how many toys you leave your kids with. Because if you, as an adult human being, know you are overwhelmed by a large quantity of something, you can bet your sweet bippy that a little kid is also overwhelmed by the choice of, I don't know, do I play with this? Do I play with that? Blah, blah, blah. The fewer choices, usually the easier it is on your brain. Okay. Shanna says, do you have any books to recommend? I do. You Are a Badass at Making Money. I love that one. But decluttering books, no. You know why? Because I have helped people declutter their houses, and you know what they often have? The cluttered people have books about clutter. Reading a book is a good start, but everything I say right here, you could find in a book. So you spending the time to read the book, you could easily take one thing that I've said right now, Shanna, seriously, and I mean this in an encouraging way. It's 9:41 right now. One thing that they would probably have in a book is set a timer. So here, I saved you buying the book. Go set your timer for 19 minutes until 10 o'clock Eastern. Find something to declutter and just start. Just start the process. Do not delay the process. Just jump in. Start doing it. Find out what works. Do more of that. Find out what doesn't work. Do less of that. Okay? There we go. Up, Cat Mama started going through the VHS tapes and jammed the VCR. Happens. It happens. And I will say this to Oceanana and to Jim too. You're going to be on a rush and this is going to feel good. Be mindful of when you start to run out of energy and stop. Stop before you get to a quarter tank of gas, okay? Because the decision making will get tiring. I know it's going to happen. So check in with yourself at 10 o'clock, okay? Check in with yourself and say, are we still good? We're good? You want to drive for another 15, 20 minutes? Okay, cool. You might be able to go for a while, but please, please, everybody, keep paying attention to how you feel during this process. It's like a road trip. I know this. We were on the road yesterday, 7.5, 8 hours. At the beginning, I was okay, and then I started fading. Then my husband took over. Then we pulled over and we got something to eat, and then we walked around. And then, you got to break it up. It's not just, you cannot keep on going without taking breaks. Okay? Now, I love it. Okay. April Marie says, what do you do with paperwork needed for the future but has potential mold? I would look up how to get mold off of paper, but I would get more curious, April Marie, about what is the paperwork needed for the future. What is it specifically? That might inform whether you do really need to keep it or not. I would also try to unmold it and then keep it in a place that doesn't get moldy. Okay? Oops, somebody offered taking a picture of it. Maybe that's it, There we go. Bring in the new year with the Destination Decluttered. Woo! Thank you, Jelly Bee. Okay? You can scan it and keep it digitally, Yeah. See, what did I tell you? User 8274. I brought a decluttering book once and misplaced it in the clutter. Yes. I was at my cluttered mother's house over the holidays. There were a number of books about decluttering and weight loss. Welcome to my world. Yeah. Was the house cluttered? Yes, it was. Yeah. Yeah. The paradox of choice is an interesting mindset. Yep. Mm-hmm. And it does apply to some clutter. I think it applies to a lot. What we want to do is we want to get the quantity and quantity of items in your home down to a place where it feels good to you. Okay? Where it feels good to you. Uh-huh. There we go. Hilda Gonzalez. I guess I can never remember if I'm the bell or the dog in this scenario, but Pavlov's dog, she says she hears my voice and immediately starts to declutter. Okay? Mailing list for the new year, says Julie Carosa. Yeah, if you want to get on the mailing list, seriously, we're doing some fun stuff. I have some work set out for me. Okay, yep, I see some people getting on the mailing list. I love it. DestinationDecluttered.com is my website. Totally off TikTok in case TikTok goes bye-bye. And this coming weekend on Saturday and Sunday, and the following weekend on Saturday and Sunday, a bunch of us are getting together on Zoom to declutter together. Together forever and ever to part. We did this in December. It was wicked fun. We're calling it a decluttering party because we have fun and we get it done. And I'm going to work today to get that up and running. The tickets won't be available till after the new year, like literally on Wednesday, because just accounting reasons. But if you want to declutter with a bunch of people, we're going to be doing that this weekend, okay? You'll find out about it. The only people who are invited are the people on my RSVP list. It's on the mailing list, okay? Yeah. This is interesting. Robin says, what I'm noticing is that I hit a stall in my weight loss, but then if I declutter and get rid of a lot of stuff, I start losing again. Yeah. Decluttering and weight loss, there's a lot of overlap. That like Venn diagram, there's a lot of similarities in what you're doing in other parts of your life already. This is why we do this. I love it. Therapy Gal Sue says, woohoo, I'm going to be there. And I'll share this with you, Therapy Gal Sue, and everybody on the mailing list will know. The one on Saturday is going to be standard because that's usually, honestly, because I do yoga until 11:30 and they start at noontime Eastern. But the ones on the 2 Sundays, I'm going to start them a half hour early. I'm going to give a bonus half hour. And we're going to spend some time, because it's the beginning of the year, sitting down and kind of making plans for the new year. Really fun and really good, but it's more like the destination decluttered of where I want to be this time next year. What are some things I want to do in the next year? Getting those things out of your head and onto paper can help you factor them into making sure they happen. They can be something as powerful but as easy as making a sandwich with your sandwich press, right? Or making that recipe that's in a basket that you've been saving. It can be calling up a friend and saying, hey, I'd love to see you. I'm a little bit embarrassed about my clutter in my house, but you want to grab coffee sometime. It could be, I want to get some more exercise, so how can I start? So starting with your destination in mind just helps you schedule, because some of it is scheduling. I love scheduling. I get stuff done. And I want to share that with you too. All sorts of good things to share with you when we do that stuff together. So if that sounds of interest to you, hop on the mailing list, destinationdecluttered.com/join. Put in your mailing email. Boom. We'll do it. Okay. I'm going to take a sip of my tea here because I'm feeling a little scratchy in the throat. Oh, look at this. Well, Rochelle, look at you. Rochelle cleaned 104 boxes and totes out of her basement in 2024. Yeah, do that. Pop Tart Mama says, I saw a bingo card you can make with goals of things you want to do for this year. Maybe do that. That could be fun. Yeah, 2 per week. Notice what Rochelle just did. So first of all, doesn't 104 totes and boxes seem overwhelming at first? 104? Oh my God. Look what she did. She chunked it down. She said there's 52 weeks in a year. If I just do 1 or 2 boxes a year, it adds up. Every little bit helps. Okay? Notice what she did. Congratulate her on what she did. Look at this. Oh my goodness. Imagine what you could do, because you could, if you just started with doing even 1 box of decluttering a week for the next year. Doing it at a level that feels comfortable to you, that doesn't take over your life, that feels good. Slow and steady will win the race. Oh, Shanana, you and Jim, 20 minutes a day between now and the next time I see you. What a difference it's going to make. And notice that it feels good when you do it. And the wonderful thing about it is, you guys, if you do it correctly, and what I mean by correctly is not just taking care of the clutter, but changing your mind while you're doing it so you decrease the amount of stuff coming into your house, she will never have 104 boxes of clutter in her house again. Those are gone and they're not coming back. So she never has to do that kind of mega decluttering again. You know? Yeah, Abbott Elementary. I love it. Nice to see you. Feeling accomplished. Thinking about where I was last December 30th. Yeah, looking forward to the future. Yes, you know? And I love it. And Beth says, and we got to love a Beth because I too am a Beth, goal for me is taking more out of my house than I bring in. Okay, I would say this, Beth, you wrote that in the comments. Write that down somewhere and keep it where you can see it. You know? Now, here's one thing we don't do here, okay? User 34299. My parents passed away and I've got boxes to go through and I've been beating myself up for not doing it. No, we do not beat ourselves up here. No. So you can do that on your own time, and I mean this with love. Do not beat yourself up. Has it worked? Has it encouraged you to go through your parents' things? No. It has just gotten you bruised and beaten. So don't do it. Stop it. Stop the beating up. There is no beating up. There's no guilt. There's no shame. There's no comparison. There's no judgment here. Okay? Love it, Beth. See, it's on my refrigerator and it's in my journal. She wrote it down. The repetition, it's going to make it happen. Please, all y'all, yes, show yourself some grace. Grace, grace, grace all over the place. Okay? Forgive yourself for what you didn't do and celebrate what you did do. You know what? And try better. There we go. All right. Kitty Boots, new follower, living in chaos and clutter. Welcome. Smiles, everyone, smiles. Welcome to Fantasy Island. We're a bunch of people hanging out, talking about clutter. If you are feeling, I can see the little face because you used a little emoji. If you're living in chaos and clutter, here's a fun thing. What would you rather live in? Now, I like to think of the opposite. So, what's the opposite of chaos? Calm, maybe? Write that down. What would you rather live in? The opposite of clutter. What is the opposite of clutter? Okay. And what we work on here, I'll be really clear about this. So I'm a decluttering life coach, if we haven't met before, is working with yourself, not fighting against yourself. So working with your nervous system. If you're feeling overwhelmed, we start there first. We calm it down. If you're feeling good, when we start with like getting your thoughts out of your head and onto paper, you make a list. If some of those things feel overwhelming, we then start there and we maybe fold a piece of paper in half and we ask the backseat drivers, what's so overwhelming about this? We calm down the overwhelm until you feel like, I could do this. It's only 5 minutes. This isn't so bad. And then when you feel like you can do it, that's when you take your to-do list and you put it on a calendar. You pick a day of the week and time of day where you say you're going to do this. Okay? Peace and harmony. There we go. Peace and harmony. That sounds great. So Kitty Boots, that's when you're aiming for. Okay? And we're right here now. Calm and chaos, or chaos and clutter to peace and harmony. All right. I bet there's some clutter in between there. What are some things you can do today, no matter how small, that are going to get even a little smidgy Widgerson of your home feeling less cluttered and less chaotic? Now, I will share this with you. You're in good company because all of us are a little bit chaotic and cluttered with the holidays. So start with something easy. I always say start with the surface clutter because you'll need a surface in order to declutter your stored clutter. Start with some surface clutter. How about in the kitchen? That's always a good place to start because we spend a lot of time in that room. Or on the flip side, maybe you go down the basement because you know that if you do it down the basement, then it stays decluttered. You can always escape to a place that isn't getting recluttered like the kitchen often does. Okay? Yeah. And yes, and Oceanana, it's hard to go through their things. Just start and breathe. Yeah, we're all going through this. If it's not our stuff, it's somebody who passed away, somebody who broke up with, it's anybody else's stuff. Okay? Yes, Debbie is saying one thing that's helped me with her is going through, remembering her as I go through her things. Yes, that's sentimental stuff. Sentimental clutter. To be very clear with all y'all, sentimental clutter is the most difficult part of all the decluttering. It is. So if you are struggling with the sentimental clutter, the stuff that's telling you stories about people who are not in your life anymore, they're just living in your hearts, but they've disappeared from this mortal coil. Yeah, that's one of the more difficult things we do as a human because we're going to be feeling feelings over and over again. Okay? So, it's okay. Do it at a pace that feels good to you. If you don't feel like doing it at all, don't do it at all. Don't force yourself. We do not force. We do not beat yourself up. We are always wearing our big girl panties. We do not need to pull them up and force ourselves to do something. There's no force here. Honestly, if you don't feel like doing it today, it's going to be there tomorrow. So when you feel better and it doesn't feel so overwhelming, it's going to be easier to do it. Now, I'm not saying avoid everything. No, I'm saying start with the small stuff to keep your muscles in gear. You know, it's not like you go from 0 to a marathon. But what can you do that's a little bit today to get you back in the swing of things, you know? So, there we go. Yep. I love it. So we only get 6 minutes now. So I'm going to do some things here. Yeah. It's bringing me down. Yeah. If you feel grievy, grieve, cry, get it out of your system. Allow yourself to feel the feelings that a human feels. That means you're not a robot and you're not a zombie. You're alive. I'm alive and the world shines for me today. Okay? All right. Kitty Boots. Surface clutter is my biggest problem. Boom. You know where to start. Pick a surface, any surface. This is the great thing about decluttering, you guys, too, is it really doesn't matter where you start. Because if the clutter's everywhere, you can start anywhere. Just starting is the most important part. You know? Yeah. Okay, Lady V says, I want to not care about everything in my house so I can let it go. Even the not sentimental stuff. Yeah, so learn to not care about it. Distance yourself. Remove the story of why you care about it. Turn it into black and white. Pretend it's just something. Pretend you're at like somebody else's house and you're at like an estate sale. Would you buy that today? Okay. Yeah. And totally, a family on the spectrum has a very hard time decluttering. I get that. We have ADHD in my family like nobody's business. We have mental health issues. We have also, you know what? Yeah, it isn't as easy as it is for some regular, boring folks, but it's not impossible. And to me, if the clutter is affecting your mental health and how you feel in your house, it is important for your mental health to learn how to not only declutter, but stay decluttered at a certain level to make you feel better in the place that you probably spend most of your time. Now, I love it. Hilda is saying, I cleared the table, decorated it with stuff I had in boxes, and now it's easier to not pile things up. Okay. Now, I love it. All sorts of good stuff. Yeah. Good stuff. Debbie says 2 large bags of sweaters and sweatshirts went to the thrift store. Think of how many people are going to be warm because of you. Yeah. Carla Jane, nice to see you. Carla Jane knows damn well what she's talking about. It can be unhealthy for your physical health. Carla Jane cracked some ribs because she tripped on something when she was decluttering. So we like to take it low and slow and safe. We don't like to get exhausted and and trip and fall. Okay? Yeah. And Wendy M says if you don't deal with the emotional clutter, that can pile up in your mind and heart. Yes. Kat Roby knew what I was talking about. Xanadu, Xanadu, now we are here. Okay. I will not sing the whole soundtrack, but I could. Talk about decluttering. When I was decluttering my mother's house, I found my soundtrack to Xanadu. It is now in my records over there. Okay. So, here we go. You guys. Cosmic is currently decluttering with my daughter's help. Yes, and you are teaching your daughter how to declutter. Okay. Couple of things before I sign off in 3 minutes. Oh, funny. Xanadu was just on. God, I love that soundtrack. Okay. Psychic Moni Love says, tomorrow Cancer Society is coming to pick up stuff that feels good once it's gone. Okay. Here's an interesting thing for you guys. Getting an external deadline. Is there a place in your area that does pickups of clutter? If you have some stuff to donate, maybe what you do is you put a pin on the map. You say, okay, Thursday, January 16th, I'm going to see if they can come pick up stuff and you can work towards that deadline. Okay. Okay. Oh, hey, somebody got me to 20K likes. Awesome. Maybe that shows me to more people. Now, of course, I'm signing off now, but I will share this with you. I do have a TikTok live scheduled for tomorrow. Let me see. Do I got to check. Trust me, you guys, I'm a human like you guys. I've been out of the loop for a bit. There we go. Monday, December. Okay. Yep. So I have one, and I will be updating the calendar today as well. So if you want to find out when I'm doing a TikTok live tomorrow, sign up for the mailing list, destinationdecluttered.com/join. Okay, Nana with 2 dogs is saying, what to do with records in player if you don't use it anymore but don't want to part with the records? Well, you can donate them. Why? But I would ask myself, Nana with 2 dogs, if you're not playing your records, why do you have them? You probably have them because they are sentimental. Do you need the record itself to tell the story? Or could you take a picture of the record cover? Could you do a video? Like Upthread, somebody said they did a video of their stuffed animals and told the story behind them. I could tell you about bringing Xanadu to sleepovers. I could tell you about getting that REM record, the very first one, and showing it off to a guy who I thought was pretty cool, but he was like, oh, REM, they won't come to anything. Ha ha. I could, you have stories behind them. Also, you've got your player and your record. Donate the player or play the records. There's so many things you can do. You can hang them on the wall if you want, or you can take pictures of them. There are many things you can do, right? But I would say this, get curious. When your items turn from something that is practical, I need this record in order to listen to the song. Now it is not, you don't need that. You can Google Xanadu right now and probably watch the whole movie on YouTube for free. Now it's a sentimental item. Sentimental items, there's a number of things you can do with them. You get to decide. Yeah, it's easier to listen to Amazon Music. Yeah, notice it makes it easier. That doesn't mean, I will tell you, there has never been a better time to get your records out into the world. There is a resurgence in vinyl sales like you've never seen before. So I would say if you have a used record store near you, I'm lucky enough to have 2. Go there and see if anybody wants to buy them from you. Offer them to the next generation down. Tell them the story of the time you went and waited in line to get that Depeche Mode record or whatever. Share the stories. Your sentimental items tell stories. Share the stories. Okay? There we go. All right. Now I love it. I love it. You guys, I see the bonding. I see the cool stuff that is happening. We're all exchanging some ideas, right? Because we're all in this together. I just happen to be the person who shows up that allows us to get together like this, and I'm happy to do so. If you want to see more of my videos, do all that stuff, you can like my page here on TikTok. That's great. However, there's all that talk about the TikTok going away. Even better for you, so that I can get in touch with you to be like, here's where we're meeting now. Hop on the mailing list. Destination Decluttered, all one word, destinationdecluttered.com website. You click on that, you'll see my face, you'll see a thing on the bottom that says sign up for the mailing list. You're done. I will be sending out an email today, tomorrow, maybe on the 1st. I think on the 1st, because I don't like to clutter up your email box. But those of you who are on the mailing list already, you know where to look for when I update the thing. I'm totally losing my train of thought here. I gotta remain focused because I'm going over an hour here. You know where to look for the schedule. I'm going to be updating it today. So later on today, refresh it. You'll know when I'm going to show up from now to the end of the week on TikToks, okay? This has been wicked fun. I wish I could get back to everybody's things, but yay, 23K likes, Kat Roby. I think that's good stuff, you know? Okay, now I just have to remember to check my email. I know, huh? I love it, you guys. So good to get back in the swing of things. I hope you feel good too. I will show up tomorrow doing a TikTok live. If you want to find out when the hour is, hop on the mailing list. And yeah, let's have a good rest of the couple of days, and let's start off this new year by having fun and get it done, okay? TikTok is telling me to go, and I'm following it, all right?